All right, thank you very much, James. Here we have what I call the worst ride, not the last ride, and it's all my fault. I'm going to talk about this. This is probably not the worst last ride that I took. There's one previous to this where Kane actually had to help Undertaker get my fat butt up there. And also, on a positive note, there's going to be one right as well, where I really do feature the two people I believe take the last ride the best. One particular moment that I didn't tell you about, James, but you're going to laugh when you see it. Not maybe the Jeff Jarrett, ha ha, ha ha, but you're going to genuinely laugh when you see that in a good way because it's a fun spot. So we're going to play this straight through right here. My ass has its own like orbit in the solar system. So we're going to turn it back here. We're going to take this step by step, frame by frame. So with this camera angle, right here as we pause, we're going to take a look with the hands. Now, normally on a pile driver, what you have is the hands wrapped all the way around. We're going to take a look at the China pile driver. My hands here and on the other side are posted, literally like this, to push up so I can sit up and get straight up over Undertaker's head, almost looking up here at the 700 level, at the cheap seats, to really take that power bomb correctly. So we're going to go a couple more steps ahead, and you're going to see Undertaker hooks right here. Now this is a cue here to basically we're about to get set. So with a pile driver, a power bomb, even a suplex, you hook here. Say with a suplex, you hook here, hook the guy here, you stop for a second, then the deep squat by both of you, and you come up. So what Taker's doing here is he's setting right here, stand himself up. He's going to squat down here, then come back up. And on the back up is where I'm jumping out, and my head and my body should be aligned right from there. I did my best, but when we come up here, you see the deep squat. Very deep squat. The deeper you squat with this, the more chance that he has and I have of sitting up right here. Now, my mistake right here, you can kind of see my arms are like this. My mistake right there was not pushing hard enough on his thighs and not trying to reach and sit up at the same time. In other words, my arms being back here or here kept me heavy to where I couldn't. But if I'm reaching up, that's just a little tip, almost over Undertaker's head, like I said, reaching up into the cheap seats, I would have been straight up in the air. I didn't know this till after the fact. So here we go. Now you can see I finally got, this is where it's all my fault. Because what Taker has to do here now, he's got me gripped, as you'll see on the other ones. He grips by the tights of the pants, but my butt is down. That's a little smiley face right there. There you go. So my face, not my face, my butt, which I made a face, is way too far down here, and my legs are not down his back, pointing down here. In other words, I'm still here to where Taker has to almost kind of sit me up a little bit more to get there. Now, it's not as bad. He's a strong dude. You see how I'm kind of like trying to figure out where to be? Now, a big squat by Taker here, and I'm still, as you can see, way too low. I should be, you can see my feet, it's a little blurry right there, but basically my butt should be about up here. My head should be straight up here. And I can push on his head. Some guys just push on the top of the head to get as high as they can. I was over him a little bit, which was a big mistake. So I got up fine. Now, another thing too is you can see my hands are closed because I was pushing up. I did get the height I needed, but it took way too long to get there. And you'll see with the two people that took it correctly, the best ride. This is the worst ride. It's going to be the best ride. Now the bump, totally fine. And Taker, the reason why he fell back is because he didn't have that leverage. In other words, he had to really hold me up there, really bring me up. He did more of the work that he should have. And then when he threw me down, he had to separate me because I was so far down here that it did. If I was way up, he could just kind of do that with his legs and do that squat to throw me down. But because I was so low here, he had to throw me out away from his body, which caused him to take an ass bump right there. So that's what went wrong with that. Now we're going to talk about what went right. You can see the first person is X-Pac. Now let's go through this again. Taker, squat down. You can see how low X-Pac is squatting right there. How low he is going to enable him to have the momentum to sit up. And Taker's got a good hold. Also, I'm going to point this out with the annotation. Once again, when you're in a pile driver, those hands and arms have to wrap around to protect you in case there is going to be some part of your head that touches. Look at how low his knees are there. So that will enable him to sit up, and it should be more like that, looking up at the cheap seat. So let's just take it frame by frame. Here he goes. Now, when he did it, he was able to grab Undertaker's head right there. But X-Pac is so agile, and you can lift him. He's light as a feather no matter what. Now here, you see where his legs are? Right there. Now, everybody has their own style when they take this, James, but you can see his butt's a little higher, and his legs are almost torqued around Undertaker. So when he goes and Undertaker brings him straight up, he's going to be in a straight line right there and be able to take a bump and keep it nice and tight with Taker. Look how high. Look at that. When he pushes him up, he's fully above Taker's head by like a good 6 inches. And he's got him by the tights. And look at the bump. Boom. Nice bump. Perfect. Great way of taking it, but not the best one. That's really great, but not the best one. This here, between him, Nunzio, and the next one, it's a tie. But I have to say, this is my favorite last ride of all time. Same thing. You could see Nunzio going up, deep squat by Undertaker. Dude, I got to let this play. So hopefully Chris will avoid the content ID. Look once again with the legs. This isn't the moment. The moment you'll know, incredible. One of the best moments I've seen. Leg right there, butt pretty high on Taker, looking straight out there. It's going to be a perfect last ride. But Nunzio, I can't get over it. Watch this, James. I'm not even going to say anything. There, because he was holding on to Undertaker's arms and elbows. Don't ever bump with your elbows down like that. You're going to get bursitis. You're going to get bone chips. That's where he went wrong. But everything, dude, I can't even. And I flipped the video. He's blessing himself. That is the best. I should have put it last. Walking him around as he's doing that, just trying to figure out what in the world am I going to do here. It's an amazing spot. Just right there. Now, this is the easy one. Christian is the best one. I'm just going to let it play. Christian has taken just right up there. Boom. Almost one motion. Almost one motion. Straight up from that. Up. Boom. It almost only takes like 3-4 seconds. Christian takes the best last ride of anybody I've ever seen. But Nunzio, dude, he just put the character into it. So that's why I always rate Nunzio to be pretty much number one with that.
Do you know, I thought you were going to show me the one where, I don't know if it's Nunzio or if it's someone else where Undertaker pushes them up and then they windmill their arms like that. Who was that?
That was probably Christian on another. He's taken plenty of last rides. I was trying to pick one, but it was probably Christian. It could have been Edge too. He put Edge through a couple tables. That was a good moment too. But I do believe Nunzio, we call him Nunio, because if you look at the sit-down interview with him and The Undertaker, one of the most flawless vignettes with the FBI calling The Undertaker the American Badass, not the dead man, but basically calling him in for a sit-down at the Italian restaurant, sitting there flawless. And at the very end, he calls himself Nunzio instead of Nunzio. So everybody, Tommy, myself, Bubba, to this day, we still call him Nunzio. And he gets so mad about it, but it's so great.
I saw him at WrestleCon, and I just thought, he's my kind of guy, because I was sat at the bar at the first day having a muffin, and then he just rocks up, not next to me, but a couple of seats down, 9 a.m., orders a beer. I was like, good man. I like that. I like his style. Any chance you can just rewind to X-Pac at the beginning? Because I want to pick up on something, and I want you to tell me if I'm right or wrong.
Sure. Here you go.
So at the beginning, where he's not when he's posting, when he's squatting. So he goes into a deep squat there, right there. He goes into a deep squat, but what I'm looking at here is it's not like he's jumping up. He's almost jumping into the Undertaker to sort of get that spin. Am I reading that wrong, or is that what should be happening?
You know what? You're absolutely right. That's the difference. I probably was trying to sit up straight to the air. And this is like this. This is the way this needs to go. You're performing like, say, if you ever use gravity boots. You ever do sit-ups with gravity boots where you're upside down, or basically if you're on a decline bench and you want to sit up and reach to do the full sit-up, that's what this is. So when you go like this and up like I did, then it's not quite there. You need to put this, when he jumps, he's literally trying to sit up and then look past Taker in this direction, not up there. Good call, because that's definitely, as you see, when we go through this, another piece of technology died, by the way, my speed editor. He's back to chest, head to crotch. He's as tight as you can be. See what I mean? There's no space. That's good. I would call this technically the most perfect way to take this move. And then that's obviously athletic and being light as a feather. Good stuff. Yeah, but good catch, James. That's awesome.
Yeah. I want to ask one more thing, and this also lends with X-Pac, Sean Waltman's way of landing it as well, is you said, Nunzio, Little Guido, he lands with his elbows down somewhat because he's doing the machinations, he's doing whatever else. When X-Pac lands, he lands like a starfish, but he lands like completely flat all at the same time, which, correct me if I'm wrong, that must be the safest way to take that bump, because it's the most area landing at the same time.
Yeah, I agree with that, because, as we bring out the pen tool again, when you look at this, in your mind sometimes you want to take it to where, oh, I want to land like way up here. I want to take the power bomb where my legs are straight up in the air. It's not a big deal. It's just this way, flat, has the most amount of impact coming straight down. You hear it, you feel it, and he's a pretty lean guy. So landing this far up, and I think he had neck problems too. So this bump here protects him, but also makes the most audio or audible sound that you're going to hear. The audio in the crowd watching on TV, it's very important to translate the impact of a bump. If he did this and it was like a little tap, you'd be like, well, there's no impact behind that. But the big thing with the whole ring kind of going down and him bouncing up a little bit off of this, that's what makes it. Boom, see? Did a little bounce. But the ring, like I said, the ring can come up and bite you. But this is probably the perfect way to take a safe, effective, audibly loud bump to produce the impact that the fan is going to say, that's a big move.
Last thing that I'll ask is there any difference in the shape your body will make to land on the mat? Because, he's adding, Undertaker, when he's pressing you up, he's adding another 18 inches, 2 feet to the bump itself. I mean, one, does it hurt any more than a regular powerbomb? And two, do you have to adjust your body in any way slightly to compensate for the added height?
I think you just got to be stiff as a board, straight up, push off the top of his head if you're not light enough to have him just grip you and put you up like that. This is not a powerbomb bump where like Gunther power bombs people, holds on and they fold. This is a flat bump. It's like essentially, in a way, taking a very high choke slam, but trying to land flat off of that. Um, it's basically, you could try to take it high on there, but your legs are literally wrapped around Taker in this instance, and you're coming down flat anyway, with the legs kind of up. So you're not going to be able to fold yourself. It's not going to look realistic. It's going to hurt like hell. And dare I say, this bump looks better than trying to land high on your head like that.
One last thing, I know you were disappointed with the last ride, the one that you took in that video there. I don't see anything hugely wrong with it, quite frankly, but did you ever talk to Taker? I mean, a lot of these stories always end up with you saying, I'm sorry, it was my bad. But did you ever talk to Undertaker about this at all, or, did he mind?
Well, yeah, I'm sure he minded. You could feel his body language. I mean, I didn't do the best job. The one before that, yeah, I apologize for that. I apologize for this one. And like I said, when I lost all the weight and I got my work in order to where I was very satisfied with the way I was working, I wanted at least another chance, even just running in. Give it to me out of nowhere if I'm just a throwaway guy. But I don't carry these things around with me, by the way. It's not like I leave here and say, I'm a piece of crap. I put the work in. For me, it's more of a checks and balances, and it motivates me each and every day to not be too proud of myself and to keep working hard. That way, when the teleprompter goes, then I'm not too disappointed. I can get the action and try to fix it.